Hi everyone, I'm Rosa. Welcome to the channel. So today we are actually doing a video. We're doing a video. I'm surprised. Okay, listen though. I love watching book hauls here on YouTube. So I felt like I kind of needed to do my own because I have been buying so many books over the past couple of months. I have zero self-control whatsoever. So I am more or less surrounded by books right now and we're going to talk about each and every one of them. Some of these I don't really know the story of that well. I have a tendency to buy certain books because I like how they look. So yeah, I'm an impulse purchaser. Let's just put it like that. An impulse shopper, also when it comes to books. So I might not be able to fully, down to the T, tell you guys about every single synopsis of these books that are surrounding me, but I'll be reading out some of the descriptions in the books and stuff if it becomes an issue. Anyway, so I've actually made up several categories and you can find them in the chapters below here on the timeline. So we're gonna go through, I also took notes. I'm taking this seriously, guys, okay? Making videos is not fun. Everything is serious. I'm just kidding. So we got YA fantasy / sci-fi. We also have new adult fantasy and sci-fi, adult fantasy and sci-fi, horror mystery, and historical fiction. And lastly, I have literally one contemporary book that I'm going to show you guys as well. So yeah, let's get started. If there's one of the categories that you like a little bit better than YA fantasy sci-fi, I suggest that you click on one of the chapters here below. But we're starting out with YA fantasy sci-fi, and we're going to start out with the Gilded Ones. So I think this book came out this year, actually. As far as I have understood, this is about a girl who lives in a world where when girls turn a certain age, I think it might be 16, they have to go through a ritual to see if their blood runs red or if it runs gold. And if it runs gold, they are kind of cast away, I think. And at this ceremony, her blood runs gold. So she's cast away, but what is then? Hold on. She's brought together with a group of other girls whose blood also runs gold, or ran gold at the ceremony, and they have to come together and defend the empire or whatever from this looming threat with a T. So I'm super interested in this book. It was very hyped when it came out and I've still not read it. I've been wanting to read it for 2 months. There's a pattern. You'll see that throughout this video, but anyway, Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Isn't this cover pretty though? Like, as well? Like, isn't this cover pretty? I'm obsessed with the color choices for this book. The yellow with the green and the sprayed edges as well, even though it's a paperback. It's beautiful. So anyway, Gilded Ones. Super excited to read that one. Next up we have The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. And I've been trying to do my homework before recording this video, by the way. So this is about a prison healer who works at a prison where they just captured the queen of something in this world. And she then gets a message that a group of people are coming for her. It's very ominous. I don't really know, but that's what I read. And there's a mysterious newcomer in this prison as well who, well, I don't actually know what they do, but I'm guessing there's a romance story in there. So we got a beautiful map in here, and I believe there's a second one as well with the prison layout or the world layout. So two maps. I know, how luxurious. Wait, it's gray and blue? I did not know that. Okay. But yes, it is a YA fantasy with romance and magic and supposedly a prison romance, I think it is. So I have been so excited to read this, but I have been holding off on it until I got my hands on the Gilded Cage, which hopefully should be arriving sometime soon. I'm pretty sure it comes out this month. So September, could be wrong, but I think it comes out this month. Anyway, Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. Let's move on to the next one. So next up we got A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. This is an urban fantasy with fairies, and it is also a queer story. So we got 4 queer teens who are, I believe they're fairies. I mean, if she looks like a fairy. Okay. So as far as I've understood, this takes place in Toronto, Ontario in Canada, and there are 8 different Seelie courts. So you know the usual with fairies, they have like kings and queens and stuff. We have different courts. The fairies have kind of been living among humans, but secretly, and something happens. So there's suddenly not supposed to. Hold on. I just had to get a little bit of a reminder. But some murders happen in Toronto. And this kind of threatens this peace that they've had. So it comes down to these 4 teens to kind of stop what's going on. I don't know. It's a little bit hard to explain, but this came out recently and I thought, first of all, the cover is super amazing. The art on this is ridiculous. Like, how pretty is that? So I thought I needed it also because I love fairies, apparently. Apparently that's become a thing. I thought I hated fairies, but I don't. I actually love them, so I decided to buy this. Have still not read it, but I am super excited for it. Every time I read the synopsis, which I've done multiple times, despite what you may think, because my summary is not very good. But every time I've read the synopsis, I'm like, I need to get into it because it sounds so gripping. I don't know how to say that. But anyway, I've not read it yet. I'm super excited too. Let's move on to the next one, which is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. And this is one of the ones that I don't really know much about. I know that it's an urban fantasy. There's romance in it, I think. Yeah, and also it has fairies as well. You sense the theme here. But I believe it's about a sister and a brother who've been crushing on / have been in love with the same guy. And does he live in the forest? I'm gonna read it out loud because I feel like that's probably gonna get us further than me just sitting here trying to guess. So, near the little town of Fairfold, in the darkest part of the forest, is a glass casket. Inside lies a sleeping fairy prince that none can rouse. He's the most fascinating thing Hazel and her brother Ben have ever seen. They dream of waking him, but what happens when dreams come true? In the darkest part of the forest, you must be careful what you wish for. So yeah, it's about this fairy prince that they like. I'm super excited to read this. I feel like we got more fairies and it sounds like a cute story. A brother and a sister crushing on the same guy. I feel like there's some kind of heartbreaking coming here, but super excited for it though, nonetheless. Next up, we have a very recent release, which is, how did I say it in that weird way? Release. Okay. Which is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. Yes. This is the UK cover, by the way. You might have seen another one where you have like a redheaded girl and then 2 guys standing and she has like a dagger in her hand. She looks kind of badass. But this is the UK cover, so no redheads on this one, unfortunately. But this is about a thief. The girl is a thief. You follow this girl. I forgot her name. I think it's Bree. Okay. But you follow this girl who is human and she is sent off to one of the Seelie, or is it the Unseelie Court? A fairy court of some kind, where she has to steal something, or steal 3 artifacts, I think. And is it the king or the prince or whatever? There's a guy and then there's another guy and there's kind of, I feel like there's a love triangle going on in this one. It's romance, fantasy, fairies. There's some about the fairy prince, but also some about the leader of the army. It's supposed to be a little bit steamy as well. I am super excited because I have a feeling that the female character in this book is a badass, and I love that in female characters. I just love when they fight. Okay, so I'm super excited to read this. I just haven't done it yet. A heart is a dangerous thing to steal. The king was right about one thing. I am a great thief. I can steal just about anything, but a fairy prince's heart, I wouldn't know where to start. So yeah, super excited about this one. Also heard good reviews, or I tend to not read reviews before I've read a book. I don't want anything spoiled by mistake. But I've heard good things about it and I'm super excited to pick this up at some point. I just don't know when that's gonna happen. So I also wanted to pick up some books that weren't necessarily like super hyped, because so far, I mean, 4 out of the 5 that I've told you guys about right now are quite hyped if you like follow book Instagram or Bookstagram, or you watch book YouTube or whatever. So I picked A Dragon Burn in the Fern up, and it's by Laura Rueckerd? I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. And I don't actually remember what this book is about, but I was doing some research on Goodreads to see if I could find some books that weren't necessarily super hyped, but still fantasy, still YA, because I like to read YA. It's a little bit easier to digest sometimes. So, but I'll read out loud the synopsis here on the back. Maybe we can get a little bit of a reminder. because I honestly don't remember. When an assassin kills Princess Giara's older sister Scylla, her vengeful ghost is doomed to walk their city of glittering canals, tormenting loved ones until the murderer is brought to justice. While the entire kingdom mourns, Scylla's betrothed arrives and requests that 17-year-old Giara take her sister's place as his bride to confirm the alliance between their countries. Ooh, we got some forced marriage going on. Marrying the young king intended for her sister and traveling to his distant home are distressing enough, but with dyslexia and years of scholarly, oh, that is a difficult word for me to say, wow, struggles, Giara abandoned any hope of learning other languages long ago. She's terrified of life in a foreign land where she'll be unable to communicate. I totally get that. Then Giara discovers evidence that her sister's assassin came from the king's own country. If she marries the king, Giara can hunt the murderer and release her family from Scylla's ghost, whose thirst for blood mounts every day. To save her family, Giara must find her sister's killer before he murders her too. Ooh, so we got a little bit of mystery going on. I sense that this is also romance. Yep, paranormal because we got some ghost activity and also, like I said, mystery. So I'm actually really excited about this. I think it might have been the forced marriage thing that made me buy it, but is that messed up? I feel like it's fun in books. So anyway, next up we have a sci-fi, which is The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schreffer. Schreffer? Yeah, you can see his name right there. And this is about two guys who are stuck on, what's it called? An airship? Let's call it an airship together while something is going on in the world around them, and they're kind of on a rescue mission. One of their sisters, I think it's Ambrose's sister, is in trouble, so they have to save her, I think. I read really good things about this book. I actually saw it at the bookstore and I like the cover a lot. The colors kind of speak to me, so I looked it up on Goodreads just to see if it had a really bad rating, and I also wanted to see just in general what people were saying about it before deciding if I wanted to buy it without spoiling anything. And it was really well received, so it still is. It still has a very high rating. So I'm super excited to read this at some point. As far as I've gathered, the romance story is just a small part of it. There's a lot going on other than that. Actually, I snooped a little bit because I do that when it comes to my books. I like to read first sentences, for example, and like look at maps just randomly, so I'll pick up a book and just look at the map. But the chapters in this one are really fascinating because instead of being chaptered with numbers, it says tasks remaining and then 342, and then throughout the book the tasks remaining will be less and less or fewer and fewer. So I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, I hope I got the story right. They definitely have to rescue one of their sisters, so yeah, very well received. Obviously queer. We got two guys. There's a love story. Looking forward to it. So yeah, next up we have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I believe this is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, so it's romance, a retelling, and we have mermaids in it. That's what my notes said. I have to read it out loud. That's the rule. Anyway, so I just know that it's a retelling of The Little Mermaid. That's it. That's all I know. And as you can probably tell, where is she? She's literally right there. I like The Little Mermaid. It's not my favorite Disney movie, but I love the Disney princesses. Let's read the synopsis. Princess Lyra is a siren royalty. Oh, it's not about mermaids, it's about sirens. A siren royalty. Words. Okay, words. And the most lethal of them all. With the hearts of 17 princes in her collection, she is revered across the sea. Is that how you say that? Revered? 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 Until a twist of fate forces her to kill one of her own. To punish her daughter, the Sea Queen transforms Lyra into the one thing the siren loathes most, a human. Robbed of her song, Lyra has until the winter solstice to deliver Prince Elion's heart to the Sea Queen or remain a human forever. The ocean is the only place Prince Elion calls home. Oh, so I'm guessing there are 2 points of views, because now we're following Elion's story. The ocean is the only place Prince Elion calls home, even though he is heir to the most powerful kingdom in the world. Hunting sirens is more than an unsavory hobby, it's his calling. When he rescues a drowning woman in the ocean, she's more than what she appears. She promises to help him find the key to destroying all of Sirenkin for good, but can he trust her? And just how many deals will Elion have to broker to eliminate humankind's greatest enemy? There's an enemies to lovers aspect in this one. I actually did not know that there was gonna be a mermaid hunter. in this. A mermaid hunter? That's not what it's called. A siren hunter. He's both a prince and a siren hunter? How do you find the time? Anyway, this was very well received as well. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Don't know when though, because I've been planning to for the last 3 months and I just haven't done it yet. Like I said, there's a theme. Okay. Next up, we got 3 books that I actually read last month, and that is the Caravel trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I decided to read these because Once Upon a Broken Heart is coming out this month, I think. Is it September? I think it's the end of September, which is about a character from these books. So I just need to read them and I'm so happy that I did. These are so good. Anyway, these books are about 2 sisters and they live in a world where once a year this game called Caravel takes place. It's run by a guy called Legend and his workers. So one year, or Scarlet. The first book follows Scarlet's point of view, and she has been writing Legend for 7 years without getting any answer from him whatsoever. She just really wants to go to Caravel. And on year 7 of writing him, he finally writes her back. So they kind of flee their dad and take off to Caravel, but as soon as they arrive there, Scarlet, her sister Tella, and also this dude called Julian, as soon as they arrive there, Tella actually goes missing. So Scarlet finds out that the whole Caravel that year is actually about finding Tella. And then I don't want to tell you guys about the second and the third one because I don't want to spoil anything. I will just say that if you pick this up and you may not, and you kind of are a little bit on the fence about it, it does get a lot better in these 2. I personally love this one, love these 2 even more, but I have heard some people not really liking this one. However, the next 2, I promise, are so good. So yeah, this is fantasy, magic, lots of magic, like a lot of magic, and of course romance, and it's lovely. You guys should read it. Such a good trilogy. I almost said book. Such a good trilogy. You guys should read it. So next up is a book that I purely bought because the cover is freaking amazing, and it's Sorcery of Thorns. You can barely see it because of my lighting, but it's like super shiny. Sorcery of Thorns by Marjorie Rogerson. I don't know how to pronounce names. Anyway, I don't fully know what this one is about, like to a T, because like I said, I bought it because look at the cover. Like look at this cover, from the font to the art to the back of the book. Everything is just beautiful about this. I know that there's magic in it. I'm gonna read out loud the synopsis because honestly I should have read it at this point, but I still haven't. So let's go for it. Oh, it says all sorcerers are evil. I feel like that's a little bit prejudiced, but okay. Elizabeth has known that as long as she has known anything. Oh. Elizabeth, I was like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Elizabeth has known that as long as she has known anything, that all sorcerers are evil. Okay. Raised as a foundling in one of Ostermere's great libraries, Elizabeth has grown up among the tools of sorcery, magical grimoires that whisper on the shelves and rattle beneath iron chains. If provoked, they transform into grotesque monsters of ink and leather. She hopes to become a warden charged with protecting the kingdom from their power. Okay, we got magical books. Cool. Then an act of sabotage releases the library's most dangerous grimoire. Elizabeth's desperate intervention implicates her in the crime, and she is torn from her home to face justice in the capital. With no one to turn to but her sworn enemy, the sorcerer Nathaniel Thorne, and his mysterious demonic servant, she finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. Not only could the great libraries go up in flames, plural, but the world along with them. As her alliance with Nathaniel grows stronger, Elizabeth starts to question everything she's been taught about sorcerers, about the libraries she so loves, even about herself. For Elizabeth has a power she has never guessed and a future she could never have imagined. I wonder if she's a little bit of a sorcerer herself. I don't know. We got some magic and romance in this one. Sounds a little bit like an enemies to lovers as well, which I love. So super excited about that. People hating on each other just to, you know, eventually like each other. Why can't love just be like that? That would be so cool. Even though I don't, also kind of nerve-wracking. Maybe not. Needless to say, I have a thing for enemies to lovers books. So I am super excited to read this. The cover again, can we just appreciate the cover? Like sometimes I just take this off my shelf just to look at it. It's like a piece of art, but on a book. It's beautiful. Anyway, let's move on. The amount of books that we still have to go through is insane. So next up we have a book that I believe came out a while ago. It's called The Wicked Jeep and it's by Shia Earnshaw. Shay? I don't know. We got some more magic in this one. I believe there are some witches in it too. I don't actually really fully know about the story. I don't remember it anymore. So I pride myself in being good at remembering things, but I don't remember the synopsis or the story of like half the books here. So let's just see. 2 centuries ago in small isolated Sparrow, 3 sisters were sentenced to death for witchery and drowned in the waters surrounding the town. Okay, now each summer the sisters return, stealing the bodies of 3 girls and seeking revenge by dragging boys to their watery deaths. Like many locals, 17-year-old Penny Talbot has accepted the town's fate. Then on the eve of her sister's return, Beau Carter arrives, unaware of the danger he has just stumbled. Okay, what was that? Unaware of the danger he has just stumbled into, or the fact that his arrival will change everything. Mistrust and lies spread quickly through the salty, rain-soaked streets. Penny and Beau suspect each other of hiding secrets, and death comes swiftly to those who cannot resist the call of the sisters. But only Penny sees what others cannot, and she will be forced to choose: save Beau or save herself. We got some paranormal activity in there too, I think, and it sounds like a good fall read to me. Sounds a little bit horror, a little bit mystery, but fantasy, a little bit romance, witches, magic, a lot going on in this one. I understand why I've seen it on so many people's bookshelves, but I have not read it yet. If you have, let me know. Actually, if you've read any of the books that I'm telling you guys about today and you like them, let me know. Yeah, just let me know. I know that I'm gonna read the synopsis for the next one because the synopsis pretty much sums it up perfectly, whereas I don't think I can do it any better myself. So, but the next one again was another one that I basically bought because of the cover, because the cover is a piece of art, and it is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I believe this is a debut, by the way. It's about witches. I know. Go figure. But it also has elements of like nature. The magic in this one is bound to seasons and stuff. So yeah, a lot of magic. But I'm gonna read the synopsis because I really liked it. Clara Densmore is an Everwitch. For centuries, witches have maintained the climate, their power peaking in the season of their birth. But their control is faltering as the atmosphere becomes more erratic. All hope lies with Clara, whose rare magic is tied to every season. In autumn, Clara wants nothing to do with her power. It's wild and volatile, and the price of her magic, losing the ones she loves, is too high, despite the need to control the increasingly dangerous weather. In winter, the world is on the precipice of disaster. Fires burn, storms rage, and Clara finally accepts that she's the only one who can make a difference. In spring, she falls for Sang, the witch training her. As her magic grows, so do her feelings for him, until she's terrified Sang will be the next one she loses. In summer, Clara must choose between her power and her happiness, her duty and the people she loves, before she loses everything. I just thought, yeah, the synopsis sounded beautiful once I finally read it, because I had no idea what it was about. But I am super excited for this. Also, you know, yeah, witches. I love witches. So, and also I want you guys to see what the cover looks like underneath the dust jacket, because this is what I said, like it has something to do with nature and like seasons and stuff. So look at this beauty. Look at this, it's gorgeous. Like butterflies and flowers and all kinds of stuff. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, and I'll let you guys know what I think about it as soon as I read it, but so far I have not. If you have, let me know. That was so many books and we still are not even halfway through. I am warm, but let's continue. Next up, I have a trilogy and it's The Remnant Chronicles. This is the last one, so let's just throw this one on top. The Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. I believe this is both adventure, we have probably some romance in there. It's about a princess. See, in my head, I'm kind of mixing it up with Bridge Kingdom right now, because it's about a princess who goes somewhere, and Bridge Kingdom is about the same. Oh no. It's about a princess who runs off, at least the first one. A princess who runs off because her dad has sent assassins after her and she's kind of done with it. So she runs off and just wants a new life, and she ends up in a village, but unfortunately comes across two people, one of them being a prince that she's actually supposed to marry against her will, and the other one being an assassin. I've heard really good things about these books, which is why I bought them. And also because they're kind of tied in with these books. Not fully tied, not fully tied in, but these are a spin-off, and when I read about these books, when I bought them like months and months ago, I just needed them right away. I did not know that they were spin-offs, so when I found out, I decided to buy the trilogy, and I've not read any of them since. But these are A Dance of Thieves and A Sea of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. They are a duology about thieves, and I believe there's some enemies to lovers going on in here too. I say too because I'm pretty sure the Remnant Chronicles has that aspect as well. Do you guys see like a theme with the books that I've bought? Do you see a theme? Do you sense a theme? Because I sense a theme. So anyway, let's just read this out. A stunning new adventure set in the kingdoms of the Remnant. So it's the same place as the Remnant Chronicles. A formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations. A son destined to lead, thrust suddenly into power. Three fierce young women of the Rattan, the Queen's premier guard. A legendary street thief leading a mission determined to prove herself. A dark secret that is a threat to the entire continent. When outlaw leader meets reformed thief, a cat and mouse game of false moves ensues, bringing them intimately together in a battle that may cost their lives. Or in a battle that may cost them their lives and their hearts. So, yeah. I needed them when I bought them. There's some about daggers as well, like there's a lot. Super excited to read these. So, but I need to get through the trilogy first. And the last one of the YA fantasy or sci-fi books, although it was mainly fantasy. I only have one sci-fi book. I need to gather more sci-fi books. Anyway, the last one that I have for you guys is The Last Legacy by Adrienne Young. This one just came out. It is kind of tied in with, or not tied in, a spin-off, if you will, from the Fable and Namesake duology, also by Adrienne Young. It's about a girl from the Roth family that you meet in those books. I'm sure you could read this on its own, by the way. I don't think you have to read Fable and Namesake to get to this one, but there was something about magic in this one, and pirates, and probably adventure. So I feel like it's gonna have a little bit of the same kind of vibe that Fable and Namesake had, which I loved, by the way. They were so enjoyable to read. So when I saw that this one came out, I pre-ordered it. Anyway, let me tell you guys what it's about. When a letter from her uncle Henrik arrives on Bryn Roth's 18th birthday, summoning her back to Bastion, Bryn is eager to prove herself and finally take her place in her long-lost family. Henrik has plans for Bryn, but she must win everyone's trust if she wants to hold any power in the delicate architecture of the family. It doesn't take long for her to see that the Roths are entangled in shadows. Despite their growing influence in upscale Bastion, their hands are still tied in... No. Where did that come from? Their hands are still in the kind of dirty business that got Bryn's parents killed years ago. With a forbidden romance to contend with and dangerous work ahead, the price of being accepted into the Roths may be more than Bryn can pay. We got more forbidden romance? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm super excited for this one. Yes. Also just to visit that world again, because Fable was so good. If you haven't read Fable and Namesake by Adrienne Young, I highly recommend that you do. Very enjoyable books. Fable is such a good character as well, so can highly recommend them. Anyway, we are moving on to some new adult fantasy and sci-fi. Yeah. First off, we have the Dark Elements trilogy by Jennifer L. Armentrout. She has written... I know that I'm gonna love her work because I have read the Lux series. Let's just call it a series. I've also listened to Wicked, which is a trilogy. I read them as, or listened to them as audiobooks. She is the writer behind From Blood and Ash, which I've still not read because I know that I'm gonna love those books, so I keep postponing it. But I wanted more of hers to read, so I got The Dark Elements. The only thing I really know is, hold on, I gotta read this to you guys. It's the first sentence. It's amazing, okay? There was a demon in McDonald's. I mean, I love that. There's a demon in McDonald's. I'm like, yeah, there's a demon in McDonald's. What's it doing there? I don't know. But I believe that it's about, is it a half gargoyle or something, and a demon? It's urban fantasy. I think they're just supposed to be like actual members of society and not like the Shadowhunter universe where they're supposed to be hidden. Anyway, let's read a little bit. Layla just wants to be normal, fit in at school, go out on real dates, and do other typical teenager things. Trouble is, Layla is anything but normal, and her longtime crush, Sane, treats her like a little sister. Half demon, half gargoyle, Layla has abilities that no one else possesses. And even though Sane is a warden, part of the race of gargoyles, what? That is a difficult word too. Great. Tasked with hunting demons and keeping humanity safe, Layla's kids will kill anything with a soul, including him. Enter Roth, a smart-mouthed demon who claims to know her deepest, most dangerous secrets. Though Layla knows she should stay away, it's tough when that whole soul thing isn't an issue. Trusting Roth could brand her a traitor to the Warden family that raised her and destroy her relationship with Sane. But with a violent demon uprising looming in the distance, kissing the enemy suddenly pales in comparison to the end of the world. Obviously a romance trilogy, maybe there's a little bit of a love triangle going on in here, but we got some urban fantasy, demons, paranormal stuff, gargoyles. I don't know how that works. We'll see. What are gargoyles? All I know is they're the three funny guys, the three stone guys from, or there's two men and a, what do you call them men? Hunchback of the Notre Dame. That's all I know about gargoyles. I guess these are not like that, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know. So that was The Dark Elements by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Next up we have For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, and I believe this is a retelling of Red Riding Hood, the little Red Riding Hood. Yeah, I thought this was a standalone, but it's not. It's supposed to be more than a standalone. I'm desperately searching for standalone fantasy books and I can't find them. Whenever I feel like or whenever I think I find them, I don't. This is probably not a standalone. This is not a standalone. You know, it just kind of, I need more standalone books. Anyway, For the Wolf is, the first daughter is for the throne. The second daughter is for the wolf. As the only second daughter born in centuries, Red has one purpose, to be sacrificed to the wolf in the wood in order to save her kingdom. Red is almost relieved to go. Plagued by a dangerous power she can't control, at least she knows that in the Wilderwood, she can't hurt those she loves again. What kind of dangerous power is that? I need to know. But the legends lie. The wolf is a man, not a monster. Her magic is a calling, not a curse. And if she doesn't learn how to use it, the Wilderwood and her world will be lost forever. Ooh, so it's kind of like a love story? Can you tell I'm surprised? Okay, well, there's romance in this. Who would have known? It doesn't sound that much like a retelling, to be honest, but I suppose it has elements from it, like her being called Red and there's a wolf. I don't know, I'm super intrigued though. Also, the cover for this is beautiful as well. We have a little castle here, the hood as well. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, and next up we have Bridge Kingdom, the Duology by Danielle Jensen. I wonder if she has Danish roots. Oh, Danielle L. Jensen, I'm sorry. This is about, is she a queen or a princess? I believe she's a queen. Yeah, she's a queen. Okay, it says traitor queen. She is sent off to marry the king or prince of a rivaling kingdom, and some stuff happens. There's enemies to lovers in this. I know, you guys are not surprised by now. Anyway, you'll laugh at the next one because we have a theme. I have issues, it's fine. But yeah, I read a lot of good things about these books, and honestly, I have been wanting to pick them up since I bought them. I just haven't done it. So, but yeah, Lara is the princess in these books. She's not a queen yet. Apparently she becomes a queen. Not a spoiler, I hope. I don't know. And she is trained to be a spy and is basically sent off to this kingdom to marry their prince. So this sounds very intriguing. I am looking forward to the vibes in these ones. I'm looking forward to telling you guys about them too. I don't know when I'm gonna read them though, but we'll figure that out eventually. It was just one of those duologies that when I read about them, I was like, I need them. I need those in my life. So you might be wondering, if you've bought that many books and there are so many of them you haven't read, what about the books you have read? Honestly, I don't know. I did, however, read these, because next up we have Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin? I don't know. And also Blood and Honey and Gods and Monsters. And I've already recapped these on the channel in a reading wrap up because I've already read them. But they are about Louise Lou and Reed. Louise is a witch and Reed is a witch hunter. And they are, without him knowing that she's a witch, they are forced into marriage because of something that happens. I don't want to tell you guys what it is. And they're kind of forced to live together and it's funny. I loved this one, not so much the other two, but this one I loved. I loved it so much. It's so funny. So, oh yeah, Louise is also on the run from her mom. By the way, and that's not a spoiler, it's in the book. It's in this, or I mean, you make no sense right now. It's in the synopsis, but yeah, that's why she's hiding, so. It's just that's just a good way to sum it up. A witch and a witch hunter have to get married and we got some vibes going on. And it's fun, it's really fun. Just not the other two, no. Highly recommend that you read Serpent and Dove and just pretend that it's a standalone because the other two were just a little bit hard for me to get through. Might be different for you guys though. I don't know. Could end up being a little bit different, but Serpent and Dove was amazing. And also I think these are slightly YA. I've just purposely marked them as new adult because there's some language in there and also details in certain situations. So we are not done yet. Not even close. You guys, not even close. So I have some adult fantasy and sci-fi books to share with you guys as well. The first one being Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, which I've tried to get into, but it's just taking me a while. And honestly, I have no idea how to, I know what it's about, but I have no idea how to explain it. So I'm just gonna read the synopsis. It's difficult. A god will return when the earth and sky converge under the black sun. In the holy city of Tova, the winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal, but this year it coincides with a solar eclipse, a rare celestial event prescribed by the sun priest as an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive in the on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Giala, I think it's pronounced, but I'm not really sure, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters around her as easily as it can warp a man's mind. Her ship carries one passenger. Described as harmless, the passenger Serapio names, is a young man blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. As Giala well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. So I have met both of the characters so far. Giala is, I hope that's how it's pronounced, but I really don't know. It's pretty awesome. I like her. The other guy has not said so much so far, but she's pretty awesome. So it's a sci-fi, but it's also fantasy, and there's apparently also historical fiction elements to it. And we got some queer rep in here too. So, but I'm taking my time getting into it. I'm a little bit sidetracked. I'll let you guys know in my reading wrap up why, but super excited to actually like properly sit down and read this because I've heard only good things about it. So yeah, Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. Next up we have a book, an infamous book. It's not really infamous. It's mostly for the size of it. It's The Priory of the Orange Tree. This book took 3 weeks to get here. What happened? Where'd you go? It took you a long time. Anyway, she's a beauty though. And it's by Samantha Shannon. Wait, is it called Priory or is it Prairie? I actually had to look that up because I didn't know what it was. It's kind of awkward when there's a word in the title that you no idea what is. And there's a wrinkle on the spine and I didn't know it. Who did that to my book? How dare you? So I'm gonna read the synopsis for this if there is one, because honestly I have no idea. I just heard only good things about this. The world building is supposed to be absolutely amazing and there is no synopsis anywhere. That's kind of interesting. Wait, there isn't? I don't know. Look it up on Goodreads because there is no synopsis on it. The only thing it says is a world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. And I believe there are dragons in this and also queer rep, but other than that I have no idea. So I'm just looking forward to getting into it. Standalone, by the way, as well. Black Sun is not a standalone. The second one is coming out next year and I believe it is called Fevered Star. Something Star. That doesn't really help, does it? No. Okay, moving on. So the next one is one that was recommended so many times by you guys, and it is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I know what it's about, but I don't know how to recap it. I believe that this is fantasy, historical fiction. We got something to do with anti-heroes. But let me just reread, or let me just read the synopsis. And also, it's the best fantasy debut of 2018. I did not know this was a debut. Congratulations, Kwang. Man, congratulations. Okay. When Rin aced the Keju, the test to find the most talented students in the Nikara Empire, it was a shock to everyone. That she got into Sinigard, the most elite military school in Nikan, was even more surprising. But surprises aren't always good, because being a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south is not an easy thing at Sinigard. Fighting the prejudice of rival classmates, Rin discovers that she possesses a lethal, unearthly power, an aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism. It's been a long while since I've seen that word. Okay. Exploring her gift with the help of a seemingly insane teacher, Rin learns that gods long thought dead are very much alive, and that mastering these powers could mean more than just surviving school. For while the Empire is at peace, the Federation of Mugen still lurks across a narrow sea. The Federation occupied Nikan for decades after the First Poppy War and only barely lost the continent in the second. And while most people calmly go about their lives, a few are aware that a third Poppy War is just a spark away. I've heard good things about, like, only good things about this. I am super excited to go into it. I just need to be in the right headspace because it's adult and it's fantasy and high fantasy, so there's gonna be a lot of information to process. And it's not always that my head can process information, unfortunately. But only heard good things about it. I believe I might wait until I can get the third one as a paperback, simply because I have the first one as a paperback and I'm about to buy the second one, so it would be nice to just have a matching set, but it'll take a while. I think it's out in December, the third one as a paperback. The whole trilogy is out now, by the way. Anyway, let's move on to the next books, and these are more, I actually called it, what was it I called it? Historical fantasy. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, but fantasy books kind of inspired by historical fiction or with historical fiction elements to them. This is the Devabad trilogy by Chakraborty. How do you pronounce that name? S.A. Chakraborty. I don't know how to pronounce their name. I'm so sorry. I should probably have looked it up, but I was so focused on remembering as many synopses as I could before recording this video. Anyway, so another adult fantasy trilogy that I've only heard good things about. Super excited to read these ones. It's just that there's a lot of pages, a whole lot. It's actually this order. Wait, no, it is this order. A lot of pages. Like, look at this chunky fella. But the synopsis says, in the markets of 18th century Cairo, thieves, tricksters, con artists, and outcasts I don't know, out a living, swindling rich nobles and foreign invaders alike. But alongside this new world, the old stories linger. Tales of jinn and spirits, of cities hidden among the swirling sands of the desert, full of enchantment, desire, and riches, where magic pours down every street, hanging in the air like dust. Many wish their lives could be filled with wonder, but not Nari. She knows the traits she uses to get by are just tricks and sleights of hand. There's nothing magical about her. She only wishes to one day leave Cairo, but as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. Only heard good things about this. I don't know how many times I can say that, but this is one of those trilogies that, just like the Poppy War, just like the next series that I'm going to talk to you guys about, has been overwhelmingly positively received, so I can't wait to— was that a hair? Excuse me. So I can't wait to read this at some point. They're just a little bit intimidating because it's a lot. It's a whole lot. But super excited for that. Super excited. And lastly, among the adult fantasy / sci-fi books we have, and these ones are I'm probably more excited about these ones than I am about Poppy War and also Devabad, but also because we got magic in these ones, like full-on magic, because they are the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. Man, I almost nailed it. So these take place in London, but they take place— I've not read them yet, so I don't really fully know the story, but I know that they take place in London, in the Londons, because in this version there are 3/4 different versions of London. There is— oh my gosh, I have that map. There's white, red, is it brown? Or is it gray? And then there is black, but we don't really talk about Black London. Apparently. I don't really know why. And we follow a character who can jump, or we follow, I suppose, a couple of different characters, but I know that at least one of them can kind of jump back and forth between the different Londons. It's kind of an interesting concept. And also I have the collector's editions, so when I opened up the books and saw these, I squealed. I love book art so much, like so much. Anyway, welcome to Grey London, dirty and boring, without any magic, with one mad king, George III. Then there is Red London, where life and magic are revered? Revered. Good. And White London, a city slowly being drained through magical war down to its very bones. And once upon a time, there was Black London, but no one speaks of that now. Officially, Kel is one of the last Antari, magicians with a rare coveted ability to travel between parallel Londons, and acts as an ambassador and messenger between the Londons in service of the Maresh Empire. Unofficially, he's also a smuggler, which is a dangerous hobby for him to have, as proved when Kel stumbles into a setup with a forbidden token from Black London. Fleeing into Grey London, Kel runs afoul of Delilah Bard, a cutpurse with lofty aspirations, who first robs him, then saves him from a dangerous enemy, and then forces Kel to spirit her to another world for a proper adventure. But perilous magic is afoot. To save all of the worlds, they'll first need to stay alive, prepared to be dazzled by a world of parallel Londons where magic thrives, starves, and lives lies forgotten, and where power can destroy just as quickly as it can create. I am so beyond excited for this, also because Delilah, or Lila as I've heard some people call her, sounds like another badass female character, and I'm probably gonna love her. So yes, super excited for these. And I've been snooping a little bit like I do. Oh, here's the map. I got a map of London's. How awesome is that? And also more art. There's more in the other two as well, but we're running out of time in this video. It's gonna end up being like an hour long, so I'm not gonna show you. I'm sorry. Or am I? All right, next up we have some horror mystery. I promise we're getting to the end of this. Promise you guys. I know, we've been here for a while, right? Okay, so I wanted to prepare for October because I want to read a lot of horror and mystery throughout October, so I decided to buy both a couple of more random books, but also a couple of very well-known horror and mystery books. One being one of the more uncommon ones, I think, or unknown ones, being The Haunting of Bryn Wilder by Wendy Webb. I totally space out on what this book is about. I don't remember at all. But the synopsis says, or the description says, after a devastating loss, Bryn Wilder escapes to Warden, a tourist town on Lake Superior, to reset. Checking into a quaint boarding house for the summer, she hopes to put her life into perspective. In her fellow lodgers, she finds a friendly company of strangers. The frail Alice, cared for by a married couple with a heartbreaking story of their own. Luann, the eccentric and lovable owner of the inn, and Dominic, an unsettlingly handsome man inked from head to toe in mesmerizing tattoos. But in this inviting refuge, where a century of souls has passed, a mystery begins to swirl. Alice knows things about Bryn, about all of them, that she shouldn't. Bad dreams and night whispers lure Bryn to a shuttered room at the end of the hall, a room still heavy with a recent death. And now she's become irresistibly drawn to Dominic, even in the shadows of rumors that wherever he goes, suspicious death follows. So, yay! And also I feel like there is some paranormal, mystery, horror, and paranormal stuff in this one. It's an adult horror, by the way. I don't recall ever having read a horror book. I love horror movies, like love horror movies. So I'm super excited to see if I'm okay with a horror book. I don't know. Super excited though, because I've never read one, so yay, October is gonna be really fun. And next up, I read in May the whole Grishaverse universe, all the books, and this next one was one that was suggested to me because it's Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, the writer of all the Grishaverse books, but this is an adult, and another one that I'm planning on reading for October actually, but I'll do a separate video on my October TBR because I think it's quite fun. I put a lot of thought into it. But this is also supposed to be dark academia, and I forgot the story. There's also supposed to be fantasy elements to this, so I'm thinking this will be right up up my alley. And also Stephen King says it's impossible to put down, so you know, the man said it himself. Anyway, welcome to the 9th house. Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. A dropout and the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved crime, Alex was hoping for a fresh start. But her free ride comes with a catch. She's been tasked with monitoring Yale's secret societies, notorious haunts of the rich and powerful. Now there's a dead girl on campus, and Alex is the only person willing to look deeper, because the societies are far more sinister and extraordinary than anyone ever imagined. They tamper with forbidden magic. They raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. So we have a little bit of a fantasy version of Yale. I'm pretty sure there's a map here somewhere too. Oh, I don't want to bin the map or the book, but I have to anyway. So we got Yale University in here as well. I don't know, can you see? The camera likes to focus on my face. But yeah, only heard good things about this. Actually, almost only heard good things about this, because some people are also saying that because it's her first adult book, she has to ease into it as well. But I am super excited for this. I don't mind if it's slightly YA, because that just means it's a little bit easier for me to digest. As someone whose first language is not English, YA sometimes is a little bit preferable, but sometimes it's just some books get a little bit too heavy for me as well. It's a lot of words in another language. Anyway, next up, I've already talked about this one, but Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Bouillet, which is about an 18-year-old girl who is half white and half native to Canada, and she witnesses a murder in the area that she lives in and is suddenly drawn into this whole investigation run by the FBI and actually becomes an informant for them, and she has to solve this murder with them. Also because there are drug problems in this area that she lives in, and there's a lot. So it's YA contemporary, but I would say like heavy YA, so look up trigger warnings for this one. I can tell you that because I read it, and I would highly recommend that you check up on trigger warnings before you jump into it. But it's a really, really good book. Next up, I'm so excited for these ones. They just came in the mail like 2 days ago. I'm gonna have a hard time holding them up, but oh my gosh. We got the Stalking Jack the Ripper Quartet by Carrie Maniscalco. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but these follow a girl who, because it's also historical fiction, by the way. We follow a girl who is, I believe her father is on the richer side and she's not supposed to work, but when he does not know that she does this, she goes off to, is it her uncle? Someone is a forensic scientist and she's all into that stuff, so she goes off like in the evenings to learn about it, and it's kind of like drawn into a series of murders because of it, so obviously it's Jack the Ripper. So yeah, she's basically drawn into the investigation, and I am looking forward to this one. As far as I know, this is her debut as well. I've yet to read Kingdom of the Wicked. I've not read Cursed yet either, but I've yet to read Kingdom of the Wicked as well. But these ones are on my TBR. TBR, but to be read very, very soon. And there's a couple more after that. As far as I have heard as well, these become more and more high stakes, a lot going on, so we love that. They are YA and YA friendly. I'm guessing there's gonna be some details about forensics and stuff in there though, so you may want to remember that. And then I'm guessing there's also some romance in there, because as far as I know, there's a guy character called Thomas, and that is all. I'm super excited to read them though. Okay, we only have a few more books to go through. Next up, we got one that was recommended by one of you guys. It is or a couple of you guys actually. House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This one is probably difficult for me to recap or summarize, but it's about three sisters who were kidnapped, I want to say, when they were younger, and they came back with like black eyes and white hair. The two of the sisters are very famous. The third one kind of wants to stay a little bit like incognito, and then suddenly one of them disappears. So that's what I remember. Yeah, and the two remaining sisters, Iris and Vivi, Gray disappears, and then Iris and Vivi have to go look for her, find their missing sister. So, a twisty modern day fairy tale. Very cool. Love that. Love those vibes. Love the covers so much. So beautiful. This is another YA fantasy, the YA horror mystery fantasy with fantasy elements to it. And I'm looking forward to this one so much. Only heard good things about it. It was recommended by you guys, so we're looking forward to that one. And then this is one that I ordered very recently, so I'm not really fully certain on what's it about or what it's about, but The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. So it's actually, as far as I remember, it's hard to summarize too, but 17-year-old Rin cares about only two things: her family and her family's graveyard. And right now, both are in dire straits. Since the death of their parents, Rin and her siblings have been scraping together a meager existence as gravediggers in the remote village of Colburn, which sits at the foot of a harsh and deadly mountain range that was once home to the Fae. Ooh, we got fairies. The problem with being a gravedigger in Colburn, though, is that the dead don't always stay dead. The risen corpses are known as bone houses, and legend says that they're the result of an old curse. When Ellis, an apprentice mapmaker with a mysterious past, arrives in town, the bone houses attack with a new ferocity. What is it that draws them near? And more importantly, how can they be stopped for good? Together, Ellis and Rin embark on a journey that will take them into the heart of the mountains, where they will have to face both the curse and the deeply buried truths about themselves. Equal parts classic horror novel and original fairy tale, The Bone Houses will have you spellbound from the very first page. So, this sounds super intriguing. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know, dead coming back to life? Fairies, possibly? I don't really know. Mountains? Mystery, horror, YA as far as I'm aware. Yeah, must be YA. But I'm looking forward to this one so much. And the cover is gorgeous. I know it looks like it's dirty, but it's not. It's a part of the look of the book. So if you were worried about that, don't be. Anyway, last horror mystery book that I'm gonna show you guys is House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. I've yet to read this and I keep talking about it. There's a theme. This is a retelling of, oh gosh, something about dancers. Hold on. I had to look it up because I completely forgot, but it's a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, which is a story that I don't know, which may be for the best before I go into this one, but it's another one that I heard very, very good things about, and it also has gothic elements to it. It is YA, fantasy, romance. I believe it's fantasy, at least. I'm pretty sure it's fantasy, but also romance. And it says, in a manor by the sea, 12 sisters are cursed. So, Annalie lives a sheltered life at Highmore with her sisters. Once there were 12, but loneliness fills the grand halls now that 4 of the girls' lives have been cut short, each death more tragic than the last. Disturbed by a series of ghostly visions, Annalie becomes increasingly suspicious that her sister's deaths were no accidents. The girls have been sneaking out every night to attend glittering balls, dancing until dawn in silk gowns and shimmering slippers, and Annalie isn't sure whether to try to stop them or to join their forbidden trysts? Oh gosh, words. Okay. Because who or what are they really dancing with? When Annalie's involvement with a mysterious stranger who has secrets of his own intensifies, it's a race to unravel the darkness that has fallen over her family before it claims her next. Cool. A spellbinding novel filled with magic and the rustle of fabric, thin fabric, skirts down long dark hallways. Okay, I actually don't know gossamer. I don't know how to pronounce that either. This is the thing when you know words, because you've read them and you know what they mean, but you never actually hear a person say them out loud. So how would you know how to pronounce them? You just know what they mean, like the words, you just know what the letters combined mean. Is that just a me issue? Anyway, House of Salt and Sorrow. I'm so excited to read this. And then we have 4 historical fiction books that I'm sure you guys have heard all about before, but I'm gonna recap them anyway. So, the first one is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I have not picked this one up yet to read because I'm waiting for the right moment. I want to be really, really vulnerable when I read this. I want to just feel crappy before I read this. I want to be on the like brink of a meltdown before I read this. So I know this will hit me. But I believe it is about a famous actress who's been a bit of a recluse, doesn't really talk to anyone, but she agrees to do an interview with a girl. And then the story just kind of goes like she's telling about her life and her husbands, her love interests, and that's all I know. That's all I've heard. I've not read it yet, but I'm super excited to because people love this book. Like, love this book. I just know that I want to be in the right mood before I read it. I don't want to just pick it up on a whim. I want to be like, I want to read this book next. I feel like I'm gonna read this book next. So, Seven Husbands, or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. A classic apparently, which also is the next one. And I feel the exact same way about this one as Evelyn Hugo. This is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. More or less a classic by now. Or I forgot to say, this is contemporary but also historical fiction and romance. Okay. This is mythology, historical fiction, fantasy, I suppose, as well, but I don't really know. Mythology though, because it's about Achilles and also, which Greek dude. Okay, that was a good recap. All right, and also his love interest, I believe, is love interest. What's his name? Wait, what's his name? Patroclus. Yeah, that's all. But people love this book as well. And I want to be, again, I want to feel sad before I go into this, so this can hit me like a brick, because I know that I'm gonna be sad. I already know it. So I'm gonna read out loud the synopsis though. Greece in the Age of Heroes, awkward young prince Patroclus has been exiled to the court of King Peleus? Yeah, let's go with that. Despite their differences, Peleus' golden boy Achilles befriends the shamed prince. As they grow into young men, their bond blossoms into something deeper, despite the displeasure of Achilles' mother, the sea goddess Thetis? It's hard when you know how to pronounce these words in like 3 different ways. Which one do you go with? I don't know. But when word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, Achilles must go to war in distant Troy and fulfill his destiny. Torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus goes with him. So, yeah, I am looking forward to reading this so much, but I just want to be in the right mood before I do so. And right now, I'm not in the right mood for it. Anyway, next up we have another Greek mythology book, and that is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is, oh, I forgot to say, this is YA friendly as far as I know, but I could be wrong, so check up on that. This is an adult book, and this is an adult book. Can we appreciate this cover again? Like, beautiful. I love book covers so much. When they look like this, I love them. And the spine as well is just gorgeous. Anyway, this is about Ariadne. As princesses of Crete, and daughters of the fearsome King Minos, Ariadne and her sister Phaedra grow up hearing the terrible bellows of the Minotaur? There's a lot of words in this synopsis that I have no idea how to pronounce. From the labyrinth beneath the palace, the Minotaur, Minos' greatest shame and Ariadne's brother, demands blood every year. When Theseus, Prince of Athens, arrives in Crete, oh my gosh. When Theseus, Prince of Athens, arrives in Crete, or just Crete, I don't know. As a sacrifice to the beast, Ariadne falls in love with him. But helping Theseus defeat the monster means betraying her family, and Ariadne knows that in a world ruled by mercurial gods, drawing their attention can cost you everything. Ariadne has heard too many tales of women being punished for the acts of men. She's determined to set her own fate. But will her decision to help Theseus ensure her happy ending, or will she find herself sacrificed for her lover's ambition? I don't know yet, but I have a feeling I have a feeling. I don't know. Looking forward to reading this one though, because I'm trying to get into more mythology stuff as well, or at least find more mythology, but then choosing not to read it because that's apparently what I do. And this one seemed like a good choice. Lore and Circe are also on my list of books that I need to purchase. Just not gotten around to it yet. And lastly, among the historical fiction books, we have The Book Thief, which is another classic, I would say. It is by Marcus Zusak. And I do not know what this is about. Don't really fully want to read what it's about before I go into it. I just know that it's during the Second World War, and yeah, there's a girl who steals books. And it is also narrated by Death, which is so exciting. Like, I don't know, I'm just really drawn to that. So I don't want to know too much about it though, but look it up if you don't know anything about it and you want to know, because this is supposed to be a classic and a lot of people are crazy for it. I just have not read it, which I know is embarrassing, so don't come for me, okay? Lastly, I have one contemporary book. It is another Colleen Hoover, and it's by It Ends With Us. Why did I say another Colleen Hoover? We've not talked about a Colleen Hoover book in this. It's It Ends With Us. I have no idea what this is about, but I actually really like Colleen Hoover's writing, so I decided to go with it because it has a really high rating on Goodreads. I was like, yes, I need something good, contemporary romance. I'm gonna go for that one. But I'm gonna read the synopsis. Now I'll learn what it's about. Sometimes the one who loves you is the one who hurts you the most. Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, and maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. So yeah. It's about, I suppose it's a second chance romance? I don't really know. We'll see once I read it. I will know. So far, I don't. Super cool cover though. Love the color choices for this one. Gorgeous. And that was the last one. Also NA, by the way. New adult, just so you guys know. But yeah, that was it. I think this was like 48 books. So I'm sorry this took so long. I deeply apologize. But I love to like watch book hauls. So I just really felt like doing my own, even though I am terrible. I'm terrible at summarizing books. Like I don't know. Especially when it's books that I have not read. Because how do you summarize something you don't really know? And I have a tendency to just buy books based on the cover and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. So, but anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you want to see more book hauls, let me know. I'll probably do another one next time I feel like I have a bunch of books that I haven't mentioned. So it'll take a while before we get there. But if you like this one, I'll definitely do more. So let me know. And if there are any other videos you want to see here on the channel, let me know as well. But this is all I got for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please give the video a big thumbs up if you did. And I really gotta get a chair from my office so that I can sit up instead of sitting on the floor and recording this because I can't feel my legs anymore. I'm gonna jump off though. I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you want to see more content from me. I do wrap-ups as well, so there'll be one of those incoming very soon. And my October TBR next week. So I hope you guys are excited for that. But that is all. Hope you all enjoyed it and yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!